Good morning, Your Honor. Christy Gladden for both Mr. Finneran and Ms. Finneran.
And Will Davis for Shannon Swimmick.
And have the two of you had an opportunity to speak?
We have, Your Honor.
Briefly, Judge.
Didn't do any good?
I don't think so, Your Honor. My client's not willing to consent to anything, so we're ready for a hearing.
You might go in there and scream and yell and jump up and down. It's not going to help. Okay. Well, I see you both have a court reporter. Y'all have any witnesses besides your clients?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor. My only question, this is an odd case because it's two separate TPO petitions, a dating violence petition filed by Mr. Finneran, as well as a stalking protective order filed by Ms. Finneran. I believe they're sitting in the same room. You know, normally we would have some sort of sequestration, or they would be separate cases. And so I assume it's easiest for the court to hear these together, but I think the witness should be sequestered from one another so that their influence is not, or so that the testimony is not influenced by each other.
So,
They are husband and wife.
okay, I understand that. So which Finnerman is going to go into a separate room? Y'all can rock, paper, scissors, or better yet, he can go in a separate room.
Brian's going to step in his office.
All right. So do you want to start with Ms. Finnerman first or Mr. Finnerman? Because we'll put the other person in.
Hang on one second. I would like to start with Mr. Finneran first. And Judge, I'm trying to share my screen to bring up some documents. So if you will, I'm going into my Dropbox here.
Judge, may we make brief opening statements?
Yes, let me go ahead and get this down on the record though. So Ms. Gladden and Mr. Davis, there's a court reporter here. So are you both going to share and take down?
Yes, I'll try and take down.
Okay. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
I did not arrange the court reporter. Ms. Gladden, did you?
I did arrange the court reporter.
Oh, okay. I didn't, so I just wanted.
I do not know why it's glitching, Judge. Can I rejoin real quick? I'm so sorry. I don't, as you can see.
Sure, you can.
Well, there it stopped. Okay.
All right.
I'm not sure what that was from.
So I'll go ahead and put on takedown since both of you are going to share and take down. Both of you need to place your email in the chat to Madam Court Reporter, and she'll place her email in the chat because you have to email her the exhibits properly labeled so that she doesn't have to label them. So email her separate. I don't know if she wants them in a Dropbox or individual. That'll be up to her. And also she gets paid within 5 days of receiving invoice. If she does not get paid within 5 days of receiving invoice, Mr. Davis has heard this bill before, you come to my courtroom, you purge from my courtroom, or you purge from Rice Street. Madam Court Reporter, how would you like the exhibits sent to you? You're on mute.
Separately, Dropbox.
Okay. Okay. And then they should just all be properly labeled. So yes, I'll just swear all the witnesses in and then we will send Ms. Finnerman out and then I'll let you guys do openings. How about that?
Thank you.
All right. If all three of you will take yourselves off mute and raise your right hands. Else, Ms. Finnerman. All right, y'all swear affirm testimony you're about to give is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth. Mr. Finnerman?
I do.
Ms. Swanick?
Do.
And Ms. Finnerman?
I do.
Okay, you can all place your hand down. Ms. Finnerman, I'm going to place you in the waiting room, okay?
Yes.
We'll bring you back in. Okay, everybody else that's here is from Safe Families or with my office. So yes, we can go ahead and make openings. Go ahead, Ms. Gladden.
Okay, thank you, Judge. I was still trying to get my in. Well, there it goes again. Your Honor, we're talking about Mr. Finneran right now. I'm not sure. Okay, there we go. I don't know what's going on. If I could explain a little bit, this first involved a relationship. Mr. Finneran and Ms. Swanick had an affair. It was approximately 4.5 years old. In May of last year, 2022, Mr. Finneran decided to basically that he no longer wanted to have a relationship with Ms. Swanick. At that time, Ms. Swanick, she somehow got through the security at where they lived and their at their house, which is actually manned 24/7. So we're not quite sure how she made it through the security. She went to their house and confronted Ms. Finneran, Erin Finneran, who at that time had no idea about the affair. The son, one of their sons, was there actually and heard the whole thing. Ms. Wanick appeared to be impaired in some capacity, but she went into great detail about the relationship and about the affair, which of course not only surprised my client, but she was obviously in shock. But because of the nature of the such detail that Ms. Wanick went into, and again, their 20-year-old son was standing there, and they both learned about it at the same time. At the end of her diatribe, which lasted 40, maybe 45 minutes, she asked Miss Finneran, and I know that that's part of her story, but this is where it comes into Brian, if she could give her a hug. Well, my client was instantly afraid. She did not know, she had never met this person, didn't know anything about the relationship. Certainly she was confronted with it all and was very scared that Miss Wanick had been able to get into this exclusive neighborhood, somehow snuck in through past the gates and confronted her at the house, and then offered to give her a hug. She didn't know what she wanted to do in the hug, if she was going to grab her or harm her. And she really did not know what to think, but she was very afraid at that time. Right after that happened, and again, she was aggressive and very intense, acting as if they still were in a relationship, even though you will learn that Mr. Finnegan, that was right when he had decided to end it. And of course, my client was devastated. She was afraid. She didn't know what was going to happen. Then on the next day, on the 25th, Mr. Finneran was going to work, and she actually showed up at his office.
Leaving work.
I'm sorry.
When I was leaving work after the work.
Yeah,
She's doing her
okay. We're just
opening. You
giving
don't have to
opening
interrupt.
statements right now.
I'm sorry.
That's okay, Brian. So she showed up at his work and followed him into the parking structure to his car. He decided that he was just trying to get away from her. He noticed her, so he kind of rushed up to his car. When she got to his car, she started screaming. He locked the door. She started screaming at him, cussing him, saying all kinds of things to him. And he tried to put his car in reverse and leave. She stood behind the car, would not let him leave. Again, she was screaming. Now, at the same time, and Your Honor, excuse me, I'm sorry, my mouth is dry. If I could take a sip of water, I would greatly appreciate it. I apologize.
Sure.
At the same time, it was at the Battery, and there are police officers who occasionally will drive around the Battery to check, to make sure that everything's okay. Actually heard the commotion from downstairs as he was driving by, and he starts coming up. Well, in the interim, Ms. Wanick, I'm sorry, still not happy that my client, Mr. Finneran, won't talk to her, will not open the door. She proceeds to break off his back windshield off his car and starts beating his car with the windshield wiper because he will not get out of the car. About that time, the police drove up and asked what was going on. Well, I'll take that back. Then after she beat the car, she grabbed onto the front of the car, and my client tried to slowly start backing up, but she would not let go. And that's when the police drove up. And after they drove up, he finally got out of the car, told the police what was going on, said that he did not want to have any more contact with her. He had already told her that, but he did not want to have any more contact with her. And at that time, the police told her to not come near him, not to contact him or his family. Now, this was not in writing, but this was an oral statement, almost like a criminal trespass statement, and to not come by the work, not to come by his office location or the home again, because he did tell them that she had the day before come by the house and accosted her, tried pitched a fit or whatever, made a presentation in front of his wife. Then a salesperson where he works heard it. Of course, it was loud. It was in a parking deck, and told their operations director at 680 The Fan what happened. And at that time, you know, they were aware that she would come to events. And I think Brian had mentioned that he was having some problems with her. So they wrote a letter to her from the company, which I will present, stating for her to not come by their office again and to not come on the property of the Battery or anywhere around. And obviously they couldn't keep her Battery, but to not come to the parking deck where they parked and to not come to their office building. At that time, my client, Mr. Finneran, blocked her from his email, his Instagram, and his phone, which were all the ways she contacted me in the past. That was in May, sometime around the second week of June. Because he had blocked her actual phone, she used her husband's phone to call him and left him and talked to him and said, oh, well, there's other ways we connect, like we can connect like WhatsApp, completely ignoring the fact that he had blocked her from his phone and email and Instagram and LinkedIn and everything else. And so, not taking the hint, she actually used somebody else's phone, her husband's phone, to try to call him. And he just blocked that number, her husband's number, and then deleted that message. And then she even used a friend's phone in June, later in June, from a golf course to text him and say that they were playing golf at this golf course. And
So I'm sorry, Ms. Gladden, I mean, are you gonna just tell me the whole story?
well, no. Basically, Judge, I will cut it short.
Hold on. Don't make me work for a minute. I just need something brief. I mean.
Yeah, okay, well, basically this continued with Brian, her showing up various places. And then in December, which was almost 7 months later, she suddenly starts texting his wife, sending her very graphic information, graphic text about their relationship, which they had not spoken since she came to her house, which greatly disturbed my client. Her and her husband were trying to work it out, go to counseling. And then so she decided to engage again with Miss Finneran after all this time, which really scared her. And she felt very threatened. She didn't know. I assumed this woman had forgotten about her. Now, all of a sudden, she's doing this again. So basically, Your Honor, we are here because that continued through even the time where Miss Wanick knew that the police were looking for her to serve her with a restraining order, and she was still sending text or trying to send text to Brian through a different number. And Your Honor, that's basically our evidence up until, again, right before, and she was posting stuff on Instagram even after she got served. And so, Judge, we are just, both parties are scared. Mr. Finneran is afraid for not only himself, but his wife, because she's so unpredictable. And some of the texts do include some kind of threatening information, like you'll pay for this. So that is basically the case, Judge. And I didn't mean to start telling it all, but it goes through a short period of time and then it skips some periods. So thank you.
All right, I probably got it. He had an affair. Now she's talking with him and the wife, and they both don't like it. Boom.
Yes.
Go ahead, Mr.
Yes.
Davis.
Okay.
Judge, I think you just gave my opening. That's what this case is about. This case has nothing to do with violence, has nothing to do with stalking. This is a man who is a prominent figure in Atlanta, a former Falcon, host a radio show, got caught having an affair for 4.5 years. My client, who loved this man, who went on dates, and the evidence will show this, traveled with him to Braves training camps, went around the US with him. She was hurt. She was upset. Her testimony will show that, yes, should she have gone to his car that day, to his office? No. The evidence will also show that he called her that morning. After the blow up, he called her. We'll introduce his phone records today. After the May incident, he liked her or viewed her Instagram stories. Yes, my client, we're going to admit it now in the opening, went to the house to tell the wife about the affair. you know what? These things happen. My client's married. There's two families involved, and there's two parties who are involved in this relationship, Mr. Finneran and Mrs. Swanett. Mr. Finneran is trying to save face to help his wife out. Miss Finneran, of course, doesn't like the text messages. And Your Honor, normally I don't go into case law in my opening, but two main cases I want this court to consider. First of all is Chan v. Ellis. That's a recent case, relatively recent, from 2015. In the Chan case, it involved publications on a website owned by Mr. Chan. Miss Ellis was an author who was criticized on Mr. Chan's website. The court said this is not stalking. It is on Mr. Chan's personal website. Miss Ellis, if you choose to go to that website or have people send you photographs of Mr. Chan's personal site, that is not stalking, and the TPO was reversed at the appellate level, 296 GA 838. And the other case is Murphy v. O'Keefe, 348 GA App 344. That's a 2019 case that also reversed a stalking TPO. There were messages to a waitress from a customer that the waitress didn't like. They made her feel uncomfortable because she did not like the subject matter, but they were not stalking. Yes, the evidence will show my client sent pictures of her journal that detailed her sexual relations with Mr. Finneran to his wife. She was mad. She wanted her to know what was been going on. Those stopped in January. There has been no contact between my client and the Finnerans in quite some time. The message that Ms. Vadden referred to in her opening, I look forward to it being played as evidence. It is calm. It is my client saying, please leave me alone. Let's move on. She does not sound aggressive. She does not sound angry. This is simply about revenge. We're going to ask the court to dismiss both TPOs at the end of this. And unlike the family violence statute, both the dating violence statute and the stalking protective order statute allow attorney's fees to be awarded to either party, and we'll be asking for fees at the end of this as well.
Gladden, call your first witness.
And Your Honor, just real quick, if I could get the site for that second case, Your Honor, I wanted to go ahead.
Yes, it is 348 GA App 344.
GA, okay.
No, GA App APP 344.
Yeah,
Yeah, 344.
344. And the name of the case?
Is Murphy v. O'Keefe. I can just email you 2 copies of each right now.
That would be great.
And I'll email it for the court as well.
Okay, that would be fantastic. Thank you. I would like to call Mr. Finneran.
Mr. Finneran, if you take yourself off mute. Now, if I can please remind everybody, this is a dry record. All right, the court reporter can only take down one person at a time. So if I have to interrupt you, you get one warning. If I have to interrupt you a second time, or Madam Court Reporter has to take herself off mute, I will hold you in contempt and you will sit with the court reporter for one entire day and do takedown or transcribe a takedown that she has taken where people are talking over one another, and that will teach you to never, ever, ever speak over one another when the court reporter is trying to take it down. It will be up to Madam Court Reporter if she wants you to transcribe it or help her take it down. Go ahead, Ms. Gladden.
Thank you so much, Your Honor.
Mhm.
I'm trying to do some screen sharing. Tried to do a portion box and it, well, great. That's what it told me before. I'm going to start with just some testimony. Mr. Finneran, will you state your name for the court?
Brian Finneran,
And how old are you, Mr. Finneran?
47.
And do you know the respondent, Ms. Shannon Swanwick?
I do.
And how do you know Ms. Swanwick?
We had an affair
Okay, and how long did you have an affair?
over 4 years.
Okay, and can you tell the court something about a little bit about the affair? What kind of things that you did?
Sure. It was an unfortunate situation I got myself into on a trip to Chicago. Got very intoxicated and ended up back with her in her hotel room. And one thing led to another. And that's where that sexual relationship began. I was nervous and unsure about the situation, where it was, what was happening, what was going on, who she was. She gave me a business card that night before I left, that morning when I left the room early, and said she worked for SunTrust and lived back in Alpharetta. So I think a couple of months went by, or I'm not sure exactly how much time, and I don't even remember exactly where the next contact was, but I think we met for a bite or something like that, and I was trying to figure out exactly where that was headed. I saw her in Detroit. There was a Falcons flyaway that we were both a part of. I was with my wife. She was by herself. So that was maybe the next contact, but I didn't really speak to her there. And then it kind of progressed on and off over the next 4 years and change. I tried to end it multiple times. The fact that her attorney said that we traveled to the US together is completely false. I went places and she showed up places. I did not invite her to go to Orlando. I didn't invite her to go to Northport. I didn't invite her to go anywhere. She showed up, said she was coming. There wasn't a whole lot I could do about it. Like I said, I broke it off multiple times over those 4 years, but was not strong enough to continue to not see her. She would show up at different events, different work events, different golf events, and then one thing would lead to another. At that point, and I was back in the wormhole I was in for a while. So that is the gist of it. The beginning of the end, if you want me to go into that,
Yes.
was May 23rd, Monday, May 23rd, 2022. David Pollock at a golf tournament down near Athens. Again, I asked her not to show up to that. She did anyway. She tried to kind of weasel her way into my foursome or fivesome to make it like a sixsome, which is not what you do on a golf course. Lucky she had to go play with another coworker, so that was a relief. And she called me after that golf tournament and said she got a hotel room down in Athens, and I should come meet her. I said, I can't do it. I'm not going to do it. I don't want to do this anymore. So I went home. She was very upset, and voiced that. I think she cried on the phone and some other things. The next day, there was another golf tournament that she came to, which I've asked her multiple times, please don't be a part of. But she bought a spot in that tournament and showed up again. And before the tournament started, she grabbed me and pretty much had me take a picture with her as I was talking to a number of foursomes. I was the host of the event. She went on her way, played with her foursome. I went on my way, played with my foursome. At the end of the tournament, I was talking to a young lady who was a golf pro that was working there, in an innocent conversation about how the day went and what was happening. And before I know it, 2 hands were put on me, a soft shove out of the way. What are you doing? It's Mr. Swanwick. Very angry, intoxicated, in my opinion, from a long day of golf and drinking, which was somewhat normal for her with those events. And she proceeded to say something to me about, what are you doing? What are you talking to her about? And at that point, she took this young woman inside, and from what I could tell, was going to accost her and tell her to stay away from me, which was crazy in my opinion. I couldn't imagine what that young lady felt like. I got
Judge,
scared.
I would like to object. Sorry, I was struggling to find my unmute because the screen share. Any speculation as to what might have happened between Miss Swanwick and this
Yes.
other woman is completely speculative.
Exactly. He wasn't there. Sustained.
So Brian, don't discuss that event, okay? Why don't
Okay.
we get to?
I definitely, can I say that I watched her take this woman inside, and then from that point, I don't know what happened. She forcibly took this woman inside.
Hold on.
Okay.
Glenn, why are you still screen sharing? Because I don't want you to show something on here you shouldn't, like other clients' information.
Judge, I am just I was having a very hard time getting
Okay.
to,
I just don't want you to show something like a client list, so you were
Yes.
screen sharing, I'm just letting you know.
I'm just having a very hard time. I tried to advance and do a portion of the screen and I couldn't get that to work. So, oh, well, here we go. Well, I'll try to use this, Judge. Okay, let's get to May 25th. Okay.
All right. All right. I don't want to,
And
okay.
I'm showing you a messenger message. I'm not sure if this is the first one. Do you recognize this message?
I do. That's through Instagram, the morning of the incident at my workplace.
Okay, and this was after she went to the house to talk to your wife.
The
Correct.
day before she was at my house accosting my wife. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Your
And
Honor, objection to any
Yeah.
way that Mr. Finneran describes what happened between
Yeah.
Mr. Swanwick and Miss Finneran. He
Right.
was not there.
right, you cannot say that she accosted your wife. That was just the day after she visited your wife, okay?
Don't even
Yep.
talk about anything about your wife. She's here. She
Yeah.
can talk about that. Go ahead.
Right. Okay, and just the court, I guess the court can obviously see what's here. Would the court like it to be read, or just the court can read?
I mean, I can read, you need to lay the foundation and everything.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Finneran, do you recognize this text? Or this Instagram, I mean, it's not Instagram, but messenger message.
Yes, this is,
Okay.
I
And you have
believe
the picture of the two people in the picture. Who are the two people in the picture on the text?
that is myself and Mrs. Swanwick. The photo that I referred to earlier, where she grabbed me and asked another group of people to take a picture of us.
Okay, and Swan Love, can you identify who Swan Love is?
That's Mrs. Swanwick.
And how do you know that?
We followed each other on Instagram a long time and exchanged messages for quite some time.
Your Honor, to speed things up, I don't object to this being entered.
Oh, okay, just to make sure. Thank
What are you,
you.
what are you marking it as what?
Defense Exhibit 1, Judge.
All right, make sure it's marked. It'll be admitted. Make sure it's properly marked before you send it to the court. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. So, Your Honor, as you can see, I don't really want to use cuss words on the screen, but it says that at this point, you can tell that she's mad at him, that she's admitting that there's something wrong, that he's obviously trying, I'm sorry.
I can read it.
That's what I'm saying. And I would like you to know, it says he blocked this account. He made these pictures after he blocked it, but and so you can see this one. Hang on one second. I am going to then pull up. Well, I'm gonna have to, it's not loading on unfortunately on my Dropbox, Judge. I didn't want to go back to my personal. But for some reason, those do not want to come up. So I am going to have to go to. I apologize, Judge. I had this all set up, and does anything ever go the way it's supposed to? I don't think so. So I'll try not to show anything personal. I'm going to go right down to the specific section. because they did not load properly onto my, okay. And Judge, I can make it bigger.
You gotta click on it. All I see are your list of documents. And then, I don't know, you may not want to, because I see something that says child pornography, I see unplanned pregnancy, so you're showing a whole bunch of your.
Okay,
stuff.
well, I understand, Judge. I'm trying to,
I have copies of that stuff. If I could hold it up, if it helps, I don't know.
I don't want to hold it up. I won't share a screen.
Okay.
So we're gonna stand down for
All right.
5 minutes so everybody figures out Zoom and how to
All
share.
right, Chris,
Okay.
Chris,
Okay, go ahead. Everybody figured it out?
I hope so, Your Honor. I have to thank Mr. Davis for helping me out.
yes, Judge, I'm going to share my screen instead. So this is the next, and for what it's worth, I admit to these, we consent to these coming in, no objection.
Okay.
So I'll share my screen for the next one.
You can make it bigger, but I don't know.
I can't. It's the way
Okay.
you sent it. It's the way you sent it. I see.
Yeah,
I can
That's
see it.
that's
Go
as big
ahead.
as that's as big as it goes.
I can see it. This is the
Okay.
rest of the message, right?
yeah, this is part of the, yes.
Got it. And he said he had no objection, so it's admitted.
Thank you, Judge. Defense exhibit, I believe this may be 3.
I think it's 2.
2, is it 2?
I think it's
didn't know.
two.
It's 2, okay.
Okay, they're admitted. Go ahead.
Mr. Davis, do you have,
Do you have any questions about this exhibit?
no?
Let's start.
Okay,
May I?
okay.
No, she
Oh,
doesn't have-
Mr. Finneran, if you would like to say something.
Hold on. Okay, stop. This is a question and answer. So
Mhm.
do you have a question about the rest of that last exhibit 2?
I do not, Your Honor, just,
Okay, he's got the next one up. I think this will be D3. Go ahead. I'm looking at it.
okay.
No, this will be D3.
Okay, so- This is D3. Is this the same day, Ms. Gladden?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you have questions about this one?
Mr. Finneran, if you would like to, do you have any questions or any statements about this?
Yeah, I do.
Okay,
I would really like to go back to the last exhibit 2
okay,
because that's the day that she came to my place of work and
okay,
did what she did to my vehicle, ripped the windshield wiper off the back of my car, followed me up into my parking structure, and yelled and screamed at me. The cops came. So after that, she sent the Instagram message. That was a big mistake, big time, right? At 10:29. That was a big mistake, big time for you. So at that point, I called my attorney and he advised me to reach out to Mrs. Swanek and tell her.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Sustain.
okay. Mr. Finneran, based on your conversation with an attorney, what did you do?
I called Mrs. Swanek and told her, I said, I don't want anything to do with you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to see you. And if you bother me or my family or my wife or anyone ever again, I'm going to get a restraining order.
Okay, and what was the date of that call again?
That was May 25th, about 10:35, right after she sent that last Instagram message that day.
What year was that?
And
2020, what year was that?
May 25th, 2022. That was the last time that I spoke to or reached out to or had contact with, me initiating any contact at all with Mrs. Swanek.
And once again, that was leaving her a message telling her that you did not want to talk to her again, correct?
Yes, we spoke on the phone.
Now, when she came to your office, was that before these messages or after?
Well, at 8:51 in Exhibit 1, she started sending messages that we already saw.
Okay,
And then that's when she approached me at work that day on May 25th, 2022.
okay,
And then the rest of the messages you will see, like the ones that's sitting up now, are after that date, I believe the next day,
okay.
May 26th, 2022.
And Mr. Davis, do you have
I have what?
Want him to show next?
any other pictures regarding those time period of May 25th, 26th?
No, not
Okay.
not from your email last night.
We will go with that, Judge, until I figure out. I think that might be enough for that day. Okay, Mr. Finneran. After that date of the May 25th, 2022, or May 24th to 26th, I think you said there was maybe a message on the 26th that she sent you. Were there any other interactions that you had, or any other times that she approached you?
Well, on Thursday, May 26th, 2022, that's when my workplace sent Mrs. Swanek a letter informing her that she was no longer welcome at.
Your Honor, objection. If he didn't write this letter, we don't see the letter. We don't know who wrote it. I don't know if the letter intends to be entered in, but depending upon who wrote the letter, if they're not here as a witness, it would be hearsay.
Then your response to hearsay?
Your Honor, I am going to have the letter, but I would say that it was written in the course of the work business. It was a business record.
Is there an affidavit?
No, there's not an affidavit.
Your Honor, I object. It's hearsay.
Yeah, that would be hearsay. I don't know what his office is, but I don't know who it is he works for. I don't really care.
Right.
Whoever he works for, let's say it's Home Depot, Homewood Depot's course of business isn't writing letters to people that you've had
Right.
to tell them to leave you alone. That's not even their course of business.
That's
And they
okay,
do
Judge.
that.
I will cross-examine the Ms. Swanek about it. Thank you, Judge.
Anything else?
It would also be hearsay then, but I'll address it.
Okay.
Can I?
Let's see, is there any other questions for him?
Do I have any questions for him, Judge?
Yeah, I mean, you got him on direct.
Oh, direct, yes.
Right.
So there was an incident on the 26th. After the 26th, what happened?
There were more messages from Mrs. Swanek via Instagram. One says, and I believe it was up a minute ago, I may be mistaken. It says, okay, well, I got Scott's email. Thanks. Our affair is out there now. Take care. And that is in regard to.
Your Honor, what is he testifying from?
I have no
I
idea.
know that it's a statement by a party opponent, but I'd like to see it.
I will get that, Judge.
1, 2, 3. Should be 4 pages into the
Okay.
Instagram messages.
There we go.
Should be the 4th page.
Okay. I've never had this much problem, but of course it would happen today, Judge.
Sure.
And what was the date on that?
The dates. May 26th, 2022.
Okay,
The last Instagram message that she sent me. Confirms that she received Scott McFarland's email that she admitted to in the message.
I'm so sorry, Your Honor, because this worked last night when I was practicing with my daughter.
Is Mr. Davis available to put that information back up there?
If someone can email it to me, I don't have that one.
Oh, it's not. Pretty much in order.
Those are the
I
only
said-
ones that,
So I got 11 attachments last night. 10 of them I can open. They're JPEGs of various conversations, and one I don't even understand it. It's an HTML file, which is not how you save a file. So I don't know what that is. It does say 5/23/26, but I am unable to open it because it was sent in the wrong format.
Judge, I am thinking I am
Mr. Finner, if you have
going the
something
right
you want to
direction.
I'm sorry.
email to me, if someone they want to email to me a screenshot, something, I'm
Yeah.
happy to share my screen, take a screenshot of it.
Yep, I will send that to you. I'm just gonna send it to you, Mr.
As a
Davis.
screen, it needs to be a screenshot, a JPEG, something.
I know, yeah. I don't know why it's saved differently. Those are the only ones that there was a problem with, and I didn't realize it till this morning, so I'm sorry.
All right, hold on.
Okay, I'm adding them now and forwarding them to you. Okay. I'm just gonna send them all to you because that way they'll be in order.
Okay,
How about you ask him some questions, Ms. Bud? Get this
Okay,
done.
so I'll ask you some questions. So we'll come back to that, Mr. Finneran. Did anything happen in the month? What happened after May? Give us, can you go into some things that happened in the month of June, if anything?
Sure. Mrs. Swanik paid $1,000 to play in a golf tournament with a group of us from the radio station that we've had the last few years, which she has done multiple times. Again, even at my behest for her not to do that, she continues to do it.
And what happened at that tournament?
She does it
Did
anyway.
anything happen? Did she approach you or did anything happen at that tournament?
Well, she was not allowed to play in the tournament on June 10th. So we'll kind of go through the process here. So our radio station had a golf tournament she paid to play in. We asked her not to play. We gave her back her money, and that was it. On June 10th, I got some messages via LinkedIn. I had blocked her on everything else.
And I will introduce those as soon as I've sent these pictures to Mr. Davis. Okay, so you received some on Instagram even now. Can you tell the court, what is your relationship with Instagram? I mean, as far as how often, is it something that
So
you?
this was LinkedIn.
Okay, I mean, with LinkedIn.
So
I've got those.
LinkedIn.
I'll share my screen
Okay.
just to speed it up.
Okay,
Sure. LinkedIn, I did not check very often, maybe once a month. And when I got and looked at it on June 22nd, I looked back and realized I had 20 messages from Mrs. Swanick between the 17 she sent on June 10th and 3 more she sent on June 17th to try to reach out to me, connect with me, tell me that she should be playing in the golf tournament that she wasn't allowed to play in, amongst other things that she said and wrote. She sent some kind of a easy good read. She said something about David Grohl. So she was obviously trying to reach out after.
So, Your Honor, this is not in evidence yet, and I do have an objection here.
Okay.
Okay, I just sent you the other
Problem.
ones, and I will get back to, I think everything else I can pull up. I think I have it all in my Dropbox, and it's won't be a problem.
Okay, so what do you want me to do?
Okay, so
I've
let me-
never been in this
let's look at it.
situation.
I know, I haven't either. It's so embarrassing. So on these LinkedIn messages, what is the gist of the messages?
Judge, again, they're not in evidence. I'm objecting
Okay.
because there's nothing identifying here.
Okay.
It just says LinkedIn member.
Okay,
So I would just need him to lay a foundation for how he knows it's Miss Swanick.
okay. So, Mr. Finneran, do you recognize this LinkedIn information?
I do.
And
One
is your
message.
account?
One message from the person, and Shannon put a purple heart on the back of a bunch of stuff, and it
Mr.
says,
Fennerman, she's trying to lay a foundation. Do you recognize this document?
I
Yes or-
do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead, next question.
Okay, and did you take these from your Instagram account?
My LinkedIn account.
Your LinkedIn account? I'm sorry, I'm just a little bit put off. Did you take this
Yes.
messages from your LinkedIn account?
Yes, I
And
did.
okay, and how do you know that these messages are from Miss Swanick?
At 9:15, the day
Well, I mean,
of,
well, hang on, let me say, what about these messages? Is there anything specific about the messages that identify her? Or is there anything about the messages that you recognize as being something that she would have written you or had written you in the past, so you can identify her as the person who sent the messages?
the most telling thing is on the date of June 10th, when in a golf tournament I was playing in, she's the person here, which I believe to be Mrs. Swanick. It says, we should be playing together on this beautiful day. It sucks. And then an emoji right there, you can see it, of a blonde woman, which is Mrs. Swanick. And the rest is just from the same exact person.
You know, Your Honor,
And-
at this point, Your Honor, I'm not, this is fine. It can come in.
Okay.
Well, hold on a second. Okay, that you think is her? I mean, you think?
I
this
know
person-
that, I know for a fact that it's her.
How do you
Your Honor,
know? Because it has a blonde woman emoji? How
It's
do you
from
know
her
it's
account
her?
that,
Well, and can you read from, what is this email address that is located on the LinkedIn, on these messages? Who's that? Can you
Yes.
read that email address into the record?
sure. It's at 9:50. She said, if you ever want to talk, just hit me up on my work email. Take care.
And what was your understanding of where Miss Swanick worked at this time?
At Wilmington Trust.
Okay.
No objection, Your Honor. It can come in.
Well, this stuff
And-
is, you asked, that's fine. Is this admitted, this document?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm requesting that this be admitted as defense exhibit
4 or
4
5.
or 5, yeah.
You don't.
It's 4. All right, it's admitted.
Okay.
Now, Ms. Gallo, you know, you're gonna have to email it to the court reporter, right?
Yes, I know, Judge.
Okay.
I've got it all together. For some reason, it just won't come.
On the next page.
Anything else about these LinkedIn messages that you would
Yeah,
like to point out?
Absolutely. On the next page, it says, all, of course, thinking of us, all the best, Shannon.
And, okay, and do you know, is there any other Shannon that would talk to you about thinking of the two of you?
No,
Okay.
no.
And
And
what else is on
she
here?
sent that message from, I'm sorry. She was, I believe, in Chicago at the time because she sent a picture of and another message, steak and a picture of a martini glass at Gibson's tomorrow evening. And that was June 17th. She also said, I'm going to Wrigley today following my bliss.
Now, is that in this LinkedIn message? If not, we'll deal with that in a different situation.
Yeah, keep going, scrolling through the LinkedIn messages and you'll see it at the end, I believe. Should come up right here. June 17th is the date of this one, 9:50 a.m. Sent that from.
Your Honor, I want to make sure that Mr. Finneran's not, I hear paper wrestling, that he's not looking at anything else that's not on the computer screen.
So there you go. It's right there. It says steak and
Now,
martini.
Mr. Finneran, Mr. Davis asked you a question.
Mr. Finneran,
It sounds as if like you're messing with some paperwork.
Mr. Finneran,
Yes, ma'am.
you have to look at the exhibit on the screen.
Okay,
Can't
thank
look at
you.
anything else. Go ahead, Ms. Gladden.
Thank you. Now, is there any, I want to specifically talk about, where is Wrigley located?
Chicago.
Okay, and there's I'm just going to try to shorten this, Judge. There's a reference to Gibson's. What is Gibson's?
Gibson's is where we first met.
Okay, and is it, what kind of location is it?
It's a steakhouse in Chicago.
So, and she is referencing in this state, the first place that you met. Okay, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and is there anything else in this LinkedIn that you would like to share with the court?
I don't believe so.
Okay, and so, but let's, how many
That was it.
messages were in this link? How many complete messages were these all together?
There was 12 that she sent that were deleted that I never saw. 5 that I was able to read on June 10th. Those were all on June 10th, 2022. And then 3 more on June 17th, 2022.
So there were exactly how many that were sent on June 17th
3
and on the 6th, 15th or 16th?
on the 10th.
Yeah,
On the
the
10th, she sent 17, I believe.
Okay, and did you respond to any of them?
I've responded to nothing.
Thank you. And thank you so much, Mr. Davis. And hopefully it will go a lot more smoothly. I'm going to now take you to what was the next encounter you had? And let's try to make it fairly brief. What was the next encounter that you had with Miss Swanick?
Swanick.
Miss Swanick.
The next encounter, I believe, was August 8th. It's another golf tournament at Augusta National. Our radio station was there and broadcasting live. I went to check in to the golf tournament. I noticed, I believe I noticed Mrs. Swanick's name written down on the kind of the tee sheet or the guide. I sat back down at the broadcast table, and she came up to our broadcast, said hello to a handful of guys on the show, and then came up to me and said, "Give me a hug." And I said I declined and walked away.
How did that affect your how did that affect your being at that golf tournament? And how did that make you feel?
Well, I was working at the time, so I was anxious and nervous and worried about what might happen next with her. I wasn't sure, especially after the last time I saw her pretty much was she beat up my car.
Okay.
So I was going to go out and play golf around 9:30. I didn't go right away because I didn't want to see her. So I went late to the golf tournament, played with my foursome, and afterwards we would usually hang out, enjoy each other, have something to eat, and give out prizes. Because she was there, I decided it was best for me to get out of there so I didn't have any more interaction with her.
Okay. And again, that was because you were afraid of what might happen based on what she had done before. Okay.
Yes.
Now, did something else happen in August?
August 20, I was at Eastlake for the FedEx Cup for the PGA
Okay.
Tour on August 25th. And I believe it was the next day when I wasn't there that Mrs. Swanwick's, one of her friends texted me from her girlfriend's phone number and said, "We're at Eastlake. If you're here,
Okay.
come say hi."
Okay, did you ever respond to any of these messages trying to get you to come see her?
I never responded to one thing she sent me.
Okay, and when was the next thing anything happened? And I'm trying to wrap this up, Judge. We're kind of getting to
Sure.
the penultimate part.
I believe there was a message, email from a Gmail account
Mhm.
to said entitled "Hi," and she got a chance to play at Macklemore, the golf course. Can I read it, or is this not allowed?
Well, you got a message from her on that date. Okay, so,
November 3rd.
yeah, okay. So when was the next time you had contact with her?
After November 3rd,
Yes.
I believe it was December 13th. She sent a package to work, where I work, with Christmas gifts for a handful of guys on my show.
Including you?
Yes, including me, myself and guys on my team.
Did she send you anything else that same day?
Not that I recall. She there was a note inside the package to the
Okay.
group, said "Merry Christmas" to everybody except one guy, and signed it SS.
Okay. And Judge, I'm almost finished with Mr. Finneran. What about after the first of the year? What other contact did you have with her, or if any?
I was informed on January 7th, I believe, 2023, that her husband had reached out to one of my
Objection, Your Honor. He
No,
said he
you
was
can't talk
informed-
about
he was
anything that
informed.
somebody else did, okay?
One
So I
at a
got a
time.
voicemail from,
Stop. One
Okay,
at a
we
time.
can't
Let me
talk
do-
about, we're not gonna bring up that part, okay?
Can the
I'm-
judge talk? Can the
Oh,
judge-
sorry, Your Honor, I apologize.
Okay. I will sustain Mr. Davis's objection, and you can't talk about that. Thank you.
Okay,
so to answer your question, January 10th, I got a voicemail from Mrs. Swanwick.
okay, and,
Or February 10th, I apologize, February 10th.
okay. And what was the nature of that message?
It was 1 minute and 33 seconds long, and she was apparently sheriffs tried to serve her, the TPO. She wasn't home, but her daughter was, she said, and then she said, I don't know if you can play the message.
I can play it, but Your Honor, would I be able to play it from my phone? He was sent to my phone from Mr. Finneran, or does he need to play it from his phone?
I can share it from my screen. And I
Oh,
don't
well,
object.
this is a different one, I believe.
You sent me a 1 minute and 31 second recording.
Okay,
last
well
night.
then, yes, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Davis.
Want to lay some foundation, Ms. Gladden, before he plays it?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Finneran, when did you receive a message again? What was the date?
February 10th, 2023.
And how do you know
On
that it was from, okay, how do you know it's from Ms. Swanwick? Have you heard her voice before?
There was a new number. I looked up the phone number and it was registered to her.
Okay.
And I definitely have heard her voice many, many times.
Okay.
And
So was the voice, okay, was the voice on the message Ms. Swanwick's voice?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
1 second, Judge. Now I'm having, because go figure.
The comedy of errors. I think I can pull that up.
And make a statement about the voicemail or just wait?
Oh, there's not a
Sure.
question pending.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. How did the voicemail make you feel? Don't talk about what was in the voicemail, but how did the voicemail make you feel?
Confused, concerned, we haven't, I mean, the fact that I haven't reached out or contacted her since May 25th, and just to think about all the different times that she reached out to try to contact me, and then to hear her say the things she said in the voicemail was really, really strange and confusing.
Okay, thank you.
All right, here we go. I'm having to email it to myself, Judge.
Well, I mean, I can just
If
play
you
it.
have, I mean, please, if you have it.
Yeah, okay. Hang on. Yeah, I'll have it. Way I can.
Hey, Brian, it's Sandy. Hope you and your family are doing well. I'm just calling because I've been minding my own business and staying away and out of everyone's life because I want nothing to do with you guys. And even going through my own family stuff. I've been out of town. My mom is dying. And I sure hope that the sheriff's deputy carrying my kid on a Saturday, and I'm not even in town when this happened, has nothing to do with you and your family. I have owned up to my kids, my husband. They know about our affair. I've been honest and open with everybody because I want it to be kind to me. And this is really sad if your wife is trying to serve me with some sort of paper, because I do. I'm aware there are people that would all of this. Rick, just leave me alone. I'm dealing with enough already. Well, I'm not.
It's not really playing well.
No.
It isn't.
No, it's not.
Then I will try to pull it up, send it to myself. And Brian, do you have
That's much better.
what now?
Oh, sorry, that's on my screen. Do you want me to play it from my screen?
If you can.
See what, Mr. Davis, if you want to hold on, let me see, 1 second. Let me pull these people in for 12:30. I know Judge Houston's going to come in and hear those folks.
Okay,
Let me pull
and my
them.
cross will be pretty short.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me bring these.
And I want to apologize to the court. I had this working this morning and
It's okay. Okay,
I've
everybody that's just coming in, turn your cameras on and stay on mute. If you're just coming in, turn your cameras on and stay on mute. If you are just entering this hearing, turn your cameras on and stay on mute. So I'll put Ms. Fenneman back in the waiting room. Everybody, turn your cameras on and stay on mute. Turn your cameras on, stay on mute. Go ahead, counsel.
Judge, I was gonna share my screen and play this recording.
Okay, go ahead.
I just gotta pull it up again. It's the same recording that we just admitted.
Okay.
that way I can.
Hey, Brian, it's Shannon. I hope you and your family are doing well. I'm just calling because I've been minding my own business and staying away and out of everyone's life because I want nothing to do with you guys. And even going through my own family stuff. I've been out of town. My mom is dying. And I sure hope that two sheriff's deputies scaring my kid on a Saturday, and I'm not even in town when this happens, has nothing to do with you and your family. I have owned up to my kids, my husband. They know about our affair. I've been honest and open with everybody because I want it behind me. And this is really sad if your wife is trying to serve me with some sort of papers, because I'm aware that there was people that were there. And I'm just so saddened by all of it. I wish you guys would just leave me alone. I'm dealing with enough already. And I have done nothing but tell the truth. And I know that the truth is hurting, but it also has set me free. And I want the best for you and your family. I just don't want anything to do with you guys. So please stop, okay? Please stop it. Thank you.
Any questions?
Mr. Finneran?
Yes.
Based on all of the events that had occurred since May 25th, when you told Ms. Swanwick that you didn't want to see her again, did you have any personal faith that this message was sincere and that she wanted nothing else to do with you?
No, I did not. That message confused me.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. It was
No, I
very,
did not.
okay,
So
okay. And, Your Honor, Mr. Davis, if you want to cross-examine, and then I will see if there's any redirect.
Yes, please.
Okay, Mr. Davis.
All right. So, Mr. Finneran, you said that you had an affair with Miss Swanwick, my client, for 4.5 years, right?
yeah, Mrs. Swanwick, yes,
Yes, and Mr. Swanwick, she was married at the time, correct?
that's right.
And so both you and she, you both knew that you were married to other people at the time you began your relationship, right?
Yes,
And you kept that a secret from your wife until about May 25th, when Miss Swanwick revealed the relationship to her, right?
May 24th.
May 24th. So for 4.5 years, you were lying to your wife about the relationship you were in.
That's correct.
Okay, you said that you were in an affair with her. Was she your girlfriend?
No,
Did you ever tell her you loved her?
no,
Okay. You spoke I spoke in my opening about the travel that you did to various camps, and you said you never invited her. She always just showed up.
that's correct.
Did you ever have sex with her on any of those trips?
Yes,
Okay. What about the trip in 2020 to the Braves training camp where you asked her to pick you up from the airport? Do you
I
recall
didn't ask
that?
for-
Did she
No.
pick you up at the airport?
she did.
So she did pick you up at the airport. So there was clearly some time where you were traveling together on these trips out of state, right?
She offered to pick me up. I didn't ask or invite her to do any of that.
What about at the but you accepted her offer?
Yes,
Okay, the 2018 Masters, again, early in your relationship, another trip. Do you recall where you went to the hotel and a Braves rep showed you both around together, showed you around, took you to the tiki bar? Do you recall that?
not entirely. No,
Did it happen?
that moment.
Hmm?
Did I go down there? Yes.
And
I don't remember the exact details.
do you recall ever you don't remember the details, so I'll just ask a more general question. Do you recall ever on those trips spending time with Miss Swanwick in front of other people?
Yes.
Your roommates who you shared space with, right?
What's that?
Your roommates that you may have been sharing lodging with?
Sharing lodging with?
If you had to share a condo or a hotel, do you ever recall introducing Miss Swanwick to people that you were sharing lodging with?
I don't think so.
What about a rep for the Atlanta Braves? Do you ever recall that being shown around by a rep with the Atlanta Braves with Miss Swanwick and not your wife?
No, I don't recall that.
Okay. I'm going to show you what I have marked as, now I've got so many different exhibits open, so I've got to get back to my exhibits. 1 second. And I'll just to ask you, so the May 24th incident, you say that you were forced into a photograph with her? She forced you to do it?
Pretty much, yes.
Okay, so I'm showing you what has been pre-marked as plaintiff's exhibit R9. Do you recognize the people in this photo? This is the photo that was in that Instagram chat, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so that's you and her,
Yes.
and you're smiling, you're happy,
I'm not that happy there. No, that's a fake smile.
you're smiling,
Fake smile. Yes.
you're standing very close to her, you have her arm behind her back.
She snuggled in there pretty tight. She did.
Okay, and so you said she forced you to take this picture. What do you mean? She didn't grab you to take it, did she?
I was pretty much, she did. Yes. I was
Okay,
I was saying hello to all the people. There was 4 guys I was talking to. She kind of moved her way into the conversation, asked if they would take a picture of us, and that's how it turned out.
okay. How tall are you?
6'5",
6'5". How much do you weigh?
205.
You say she's pretty significantly shorter than you?
I would say so.
Okay, but she forced you into this photo?
And yeah, for the most part, without causing a scene or pulling away. Yeah.
Okay. This happened 9 months ago, correct?
Right.
And then I know there's some dispute as to who called who on the incident at your office, but the day you say that she came to your office and took the windshield wipers off, you yourself did not call the police, did you?
I was about to call the police until they ended up showing up right there.
And you informed the police that you did not wish for them to arrest her or file any sort of report, didn't you?
They asked me if I wanted to press charges, and I said no. I just wanted
You said no, but now you're seeking 9 months later a 12-month dating violence protection order from Ms. Swanek. That's right?
That's exactly correct.
Okay, and so these messages to her, for instance, let's talk about this voicemail we just listened to. Did she threaten you at all?
She didn't threaten me in that voicemail.
Other than what you described as a soft shove earlier when she was angry at you at that golf tournament, has there ever been physical violence between you and Ms. Swanek? What was that?
Besides that, and not that instance where she pushed me out of the way, and then obviously the incident when she ripped off the back windshield wiper and beat my car up.
Mr. Finner, but you weren't scared of her then because you asked the police not to press charges, right?
Well, you could be scared. I was absolutely scared. Just because I didn't press charges doesn't mean I'm not scared.
Why are you in fear for your safety? When has Ms. Swanek, other than that incident 9 months ago, when has she threatened your safety?
There is a laundry list of text messages and phone calls that she started sending to my wife. There's
So
13 different
that is
instances.
between, I'm talking about you,
She's
not
my
your
wife.
wife.
So yeah, I feel a certain way. I'm worried
Okay.
about the way she addressed my wife, sent stuff to my wife, and then every single day I would go into work, I didn't know if Mrs. Swanek was going to be there. Every day I leave, I have an uneasy feeling. There is a sense of fear factor. Thank God I can look out the glass doors on my way out of the building, look right and left, make sure I don't see a specific car that she might own or a person. I look over my shoulder. So that's been 10 months every
So
time I walk in and out of my building.
In those 10 months
Oh yeah,
since
I would say
May,
there's a slight scared fear factor there, yes.
but since May of last year, have you seen Ms. Swanek at your place of business?
She has not come to my place of business.
And have you seen her at your house?
She came to the golf tournament that she was asked not to come to.
So my question was, have you seen her at your house?
No, we put her on a restricted list on our neighborhood security gate. So
the answer is no.
No, she has not been to my house.
Okay. Just kind of wondering, have you had sex with any other women in the last 4.5 years besides my client and your wife?
No, sir.
Okay. She was told not to come. You testified to this earlier, to that June 2022 golf tournament.
Right.
And you said you refunded her and she didn't come that day, right? In fact, your testimony was, quote, that was it. So that was it. She did not come to the golf tournament that day?
She did not show up to the golf tournament on June 10th. That is correct.
Okay. The Atlanta National golf tournament you spoke to, I think you said Augusta National, but it was the Atlanta National Golf
Thank
Club.
you. Atlanta National, yes.
Yeah. It's fair to say that during your relationship with Ms. Swanek, she became friendly with staff at your radio station and on your radio show, right?
Yes.
You invited her to even come watch you film the show, didn't you?
I invited her to come watch me film my show. No, that is increased. I asked her not to do that.
And that was probably
She
because you
paid
wanted
to
to hide.
come. I'm sorry?
Did you ask her not to come because you were wanting to hide your affair?
Yeah, there was an uncomfortableness around her for sure. And
Okay.
there were certain threats about what she would do if I didn't continue to see her. She paid to show up at different events. Like I said prior, I did not invite her anywhere.
But you didn't tell her to leave, for
Not
example, when
anywhere.
she came. But when she came to the
Tell her to
radio
leave.
station.
How can I tell her to leave? She paid to be there. I just tried
No,
to
but
avoid her.
what about the radio station when she came to watch you?
Same thing. She paid to be the program
Oh.
manager for the day.
Because she paid to be the program manager, and oftentimes too, her business would sponsor some things and work with sponsorship with your radio show as well, right?
I believe she had a small sponsorship. I'm not sure
Okay.
if it was involved at this time or not. It was very short-lived, so it could have been a different company in a different time. So I'm not sure.
So those LinkedIn messages, I'm not going to pull them up again. You said she sent 17, but 12 of those were deleted. So you never actually saw those, right?
Yeah, God only knows what those said.
But you don't know what they said, do you?
No idea.
Okay. And they were sent 9 months ago in June? Give or take 9
Yes.
months? All right. And but the messages that did come across, one said, we should have been playing together on this beautiful day. It sucks, right?
Yes.
Okay. Is that threatening?
That's threatening because she's not supposed to be there. And then the day of, she's bringing it back up. And I've already asked her not to reach out and contact me. So I would say there's a version of stalking going on. I mean, there's 13 different instances over the last 8 or 9 months where she has reached out minimum, whether that's been through her phone, her husband's phone, her girlfriend's phone, LinkedIn, Instagram. So you can see where it can get a little bit daunting for me trying to move on with my life, even though she said she's trying to move on with her life. She's the one that keeps reaching out to me. So that's where the
So you actually just kind of
like
hit the
fear
nail on
factor
the,
comes in.
you hit the nail on the head for my next question. It's kind of daunting to move on in your life. Can't you understand that it's daunting for her as well after you ended pretty abruptly a 4.5-year relationship with her?
I'm sorry.
Can't you understand that you broke up with her? Can't you understand that that would be hard for her to just get past? Can you understand that?
I guess the relationship was, in my opinion,
Your Honor,
super-
I would object to to defend Mr. Davis asking my client what his client might think or might feel. He said, don't you think it would be daunting to her? And I don't think my client can comment as to how she would feel.
And Judge, I can get that on cross, but I think it's a pretty general. Is it hard for people in relationships to get through a breakup? I can ask that
You can
generally.
rephrase, Mr. Davis. You can rephrase.
In general, Mr. Finneran, and you can base it on your own experience, presuming you dated people other than your wife and my client. Is it
I haven't,
difficult?
by the way.
Okay. So you've never been broken up with?
I really haven't.
Okay.
I broke up. I broke this thing off multiple times with Mrs. Swanek. And
but you kept coming back to it.
I felt trapped at times. There was manipulation, and there was threats throughout the course of this relationship. Subtly at times, but there were definitely threats as far as approaching business and doing different things like that.
Sir, you felt threatened, but you continued to as recently as March of this year. You invited her to come have sex with you in the Sonesta Hotel after your wife left the room, right?
It was not a Sonesta hotel.
No, it was an Elements. It was an Elements Hotel in Buckhead.
It
So-
was my worst moment in this relationship is that specific moment. It
Mr.
was,
Fennerman, let me interrupt you. The first word out of your mouth needs to be yes or no. Then you can say
Okay.
qualifying things you want.
Did you say March of this year? I'm saying
March, sorry,
like,
March of 2022.
okay, I
Before the
wanted
May,
to clarify that.
yeah, before the May incident, you invited her to the Elements Hotel to have sex until you had to check out, right?
that's correct.
And your wife had already left. Your wife had left early, so then you invited Miss Swanwick to come over?
She left the night before.
Okay. And so you stated just now that you felt trapped in this relationship when you invited Miss Swanwick to your hotel?
That's correct.
Okay. I'm trying to,
It's
here we
like,
go.
it's the only time, like I said, it's the only time I've ever done anything like that, and I regret it all the
Well,
time.
It's not the only time you met in hotels to
It's
have
the
sex
only
with
time
her.
I invited her to go do
Okay.
something like that.
But you routinely met to have sex in hotels, in your car, all over, correct?
That's correct. Physical
Okay.
relationship was what it was.
Okay, so just 3 more questions. You recall meeting with my client in September and writing in her journal? September of 2021?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so I'm going to show you what's been marked as Exhibit R11. You recognize that handwriting?
I do.
That your handwriting?
Yes.
And did you write this then in September 21 in her journal?
Yes.
And y'all were together at the time?
We were sitting together.
Yeah, you were sitting together at the time?
Yep. I refused to do it a bunch of times and finally just said, all right, what the hell?
Oh, you were trapped into writing this?
That's correct.
Okay, so may I admit what's marked as Exhibit R11?
Any objections?
No objection, Your Honor.
It's
So
admitted.
just again, I guess this would have been a more positive time in your relationship. You wrote, you were sweet and super thoughtful. You were a special person and a great mom. You're a decent golfer and I trust you. Your future's bright and you will find what you were looking for. Love me. Is that your writing?
Yes.
Okay.
It's just heart me. There's no real love there. It's just a heart.
What does heart typically mean when one writes it out?
Means can mean a number of things, but yeah.
Okay. How much of you filing this TPO has been influenced by your wife and the fact that you were revealed to have been having a 4.5-year long affair?
None. This became okay.
Did you and your wife fill out your petitions together? Your petitions for protective orders?
My wife went down before I did to fill out her protective order.
Okay.
It expired and she had to go do another one. And at that point, I said, I need to do this as well because the amount of information, the amount of contact she was trying to reach out for, I didn't know if she was going to show up anywhere. I didn't want her around my house. I didn't want any of that stuff to happen. So it was my best interest, which I already told her months and months ago that if she did show up or contact me, I was going to get a restraining order. So I finally followed through with what I told her on May 25th.
So it took 9 months, 10 months?
It took 9 months and harassing and taunting and pretty much violating my wife.
So not text, I'm not talking about text to your wife because
That's okay.
That's a separate case. So to
And
you,
me taunting me, contacting me month after month after month. And I asked her not to do that. And I told her, if you continue to do it and reach out, I'm going to get a restraining order. And it just get to a point where so many things happen. I had enough and there needed to be an end game here because it's like it was never going to end.
I've got no further questions for Mr. Finneran.
Can I do some brief redirect, Your Honor?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Finneran, when Ms. Swanwick, Mr. Davis referred to her sponsoring tournaments and being a part of, paying to be a part of the show. When did those things occur? Was that while you were still in having an affair?
Yes,
Okay, so none of those things happened after you broke it off with her, is that correct?
that's exactly right.
And even though it's a different case, have the events where that Miss Wanick that have occurred between Miss Wanick and your wife, have they made you feel less safe for yourself based on those interactions that she's had with your wife?
100% yes.
Okay, so admittedly, if it was just you involved, there may be a different situation here, correct?
That's correct. But I
But you
still
can't-
feel,
Okay, but again, you broke up with her in May, and this, you know, she's constantly reached out to you, correct? At least once or twice a month, correct?
just about yes.
Okay, and did you ever give her presents?
I never bought her any presents.
No gifts? Did you ever send her flowers?
I never sent her flowers.
Did you ever tell her you love her? You loved her?
I never told her I loved her.
Did you ever tell her you wanted a relationship with her outside of the affair?
No, I did the opposite.
Okay. Was she married? Obviously, at the time, I believe that's already into evidence.
Yes. She was married. She told me multiple times she was going to get divorced.
Did you ever tell her that you wanted to get divorced from your wife and be with her?
Never.
Your
Thank
Honor, I'm going to object to relevance at this point.
Well, Mr. Davis is acting as if there's been this long relationship, and that even though Ms. Wanick kept contacting my client over and over again, that my client has somehow led her on this whole time, and there's not really a big deal. There's nothing really going on here. And so I just wanted to make sure that there has been a period of time where he's repeatedly told her to stay away, and she hasn't done so, Judge. I will finish with that. I'm ready for Ms. Finner, and I believe that that the court is ready or needs to take a break. I might need to make a quick announcement. I'm actually in the Forsyth County Superior Court. So if we could take a brief, just a brief break, so I could just make a quick announcement, and I would be back in like 2 minutes, Your Honor.
Judge, if I could do something before then,
Sure.
I would like to move for a directed verdict, Judge. I think this is obvious what is going on here. This case is not this is not a substantiated case for a petition for a dating violence protective order. Yes, there was the relationship element, but other than that, this is a case of a man who got caught having an affair. His wife is mad, has also filed a protective order. Pursuant to 91150, you're allowed to grant a motion for directed verdict. And I think in light of all of the evidence, he says he was trapped. He didn't know what to do. This is a grown man who 2 months before he broke up with his girlfriend, invited her to his hotel, had him at her rental house before. They were a couple, traveled with him. He contradicted himself in his testimony. There is no grounds here. The petitioner has not met their burden for a dating violence protective order. And I ask for a directed verdict in respondent's favor. And I also would ask for all of my fees pursuant to the statute 1913A-4.
Ms. Gladden,
you know,
Ms. Gladden, do you have time to respond, or do you need to report or make an announcement in that courtroom?
Well, I can respond
Okay.
briefly. Your Honor, I would ask the court to reserve any finding regarding the directed verdict. I think the testimony that you will hear from his wife, Ms. Finneran, is greatly relevant to the violence issue in this situation and potential violence against both her and Mr. Finneran. So I would ask that you please reserve any directed verdict motion until the end of, even though I know it's a little bit unusual, I believe that her testimony is extremely relevant to Mr. Finneran's case as well. So I would ask that you reserve judgment, and I would also ask for attorney's fees, Judge. But I will wait until the end of Ms. Finneran's testimony, Judge, but I would ask that you reserve directed verdict until then.
Okay, I'll rule in just a second. Go make your announcement, and I'll be back in 2 minutes. I've got to make sure I got a deputy out here. I'll stand down for like 5 minutes.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I'm back. Thank you.
That's okay. All right, I'm gonna grant the director verdict against Mr. Fetterman, but we'll bring Ms. Fetterman in and hear from her. I'll tell you this because Ms. Gladden, what Ms. Fetterman says is her directly, not have anything to do with him.
Right. Yes, Judge, a temporary restraining, a family violence or a violence restraining order may not have been the best selection.
So
For
hold on,
Mr.
I think she's logging in here. Her first name is Erin.
Aaron.
Okay, she's logging in right now, connecting to audio.
I would just argue, Your Honor, that, never mind, I will talk to Mr. Finneran about his various options with different kinds of restraining orders after we hear from Ms. Finneran.
And so, Judge, do you want to reserve the issue of fees for after Ms. Finneran's hearing?
Sure, we'll hold it at the end. All right,
Okay.
Ms. Finneran, gotta see your face. There you go. You've been previously sworn, so go ahead, Ms. Biden.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Finneran. Would you please state your name for the record?
Take yourself off mute, ma'am.
Apologize. Erin Finneran,
And how old are you, Ms. Finneran?
47.
And do you know Ms. Shannon Swanick?
I don't know her. The first time I saw her was when she came to my home.
But do you know of her relationship with Mr. Finneran?
I do now.
Okay. And can you tell the court the first instance where you came in contact with Ms. Finneran?
With Miss Swanick.
Ms. Swanick, I'm sorry, Ms. Finneran, when you first came in contact with Ms. Swanick.
So May 24th, 2022.
Okay, and can you tell the court what happened on that date?
Yes, I had a knock at my door. My dogs started barking like crazy. My husband had just actually left maybe 5 minutes prior with his friend to go to the Braves game. And was exhausted. It was field day at school and I'm a school nurse. So I had been on the hot turf all day with my little youngins and hear this knock at the door, just walk over. I'm like, what's going on? And there's a lady standing at my door when I answered it. And she said, she's standing there kind of rocking back and forth. And she's like, do you know where your husband is? And I said, I'm sorry, what? She said, do you know where your husband is? And I think I might've said something like the Braves game and she's like, and then I said, she says, no. She said,
Fetterman,
sorry.
do you need Mr. Fetterman anymore? Because he's walking around or he's got a camera off. If he's gonna be here, he's gonna turn his camera.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Okay.
Go ahead, ma'am.
So she said, do you know where your husband is? And I'm kind of standing there like, what is going on? And I said, I don't know. I said, what? I said, do I know you? And she said, your husband, I know I said he's at a Braves game. She says, no, your husband's in a hotel right now, fucking a golf pro. And I'm pissed. And I stood there and I literally thought this person's just at the wrong home. What I didn't realize is my son was walking up the steps, hearing the dogs barking and stood in the hallway and heard every single thing that this lady said. And his initial thought is when he starts hearing this person ranting about, and then she says, I had a 4.5 year affair, or I've been in a relationship with your husband for 4.5 years. And I'm pissed. He's in there, he's fucking a golf pro right now in a hotel. And his initial thought was, she's probably talking about Chris Moore, was just at the house and left with Brian to go to the Braves game. And I'm literally standing there going, this person has the wrong house. I said, I'm sorry. I said, I think you have the wrong house. I said, she goes, no. I said, do you know me? She says, you're Aaron, your husband's Brian, I'm Shannon, and I've been having an affair with your husband. So I'm sitting there going, what is happening? Then she starts going into details that she is talking about Brian. He works for 680. She just came from the Deborah golf tournament. They hook up in the parking structure of the hotel, that she goes to the golf tournaments. They've hooked up on golf courses. She's gone down to Braves Fantasy Camp to, gone down to Braves Fantasy Camp, and met Brian down there twice. She says the year that you didn't go, she went the year before and the year after. She just went into all kinds of detail, and I'm literally in shock. I'm holding on to the door and I'm trying to kind of like close the door a little bit, standing there. And then I just looked at her. I said, I'm like in shock right now. I don't even know what to think. And then she's like demeanor changes. She says, I just want to give you a hug. And so I put my hand up. I was like, no. And then she's going on. She says, is there anything else you want to know? And I said, I'm like in shock right now. I don't even know how to process this. I don't know what's happening. And I said, I don't know. I said, I think you need to go. I think you need to go. I could tell, or to me, she appeared to be a little intoxicated. And she's kind of swaying back and forth. And she had also told me before this, she says, I want, call him right now. I said, I'm not going to do that. She insisted again when I was like, I think you need to go. She says, I want you to call him. I want you to call him. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I think you need to go. You need to go. And this went on not for 45 minutes. It was about 20 to 30 minutes she was out there. And the only reason I say that is Brian had just left like 5 to 10 minutes prior to her getting here. And by the time I did call Brian, he was in the Braves stadium. So it takes at least 35 minutes to leave our house and get into that stadium. But I mean, the whole thing is kind of a blur. I do recall what I'm saying for sure, but it was, I mean, I literally felt like tingly, numb. Just, I had no idea what was going on. So then she's kind of still staying around. I said, I need you to go. And she says, no, you call him right now. And I said, I'm not going to do that. You need to go. And then she walks down the steps, starts going down the path. And she's like, no, I want you to call him. I said, I'm not going to call him. And I said, you asked me if there's anything else that I want to know. I said, I want to tell you, you know what? Don't contact my husband anymore. Do not come to my home and leave my family alone. And she says, I'm not going to do that because I love him. I'm not going to do that because I love him. Oh, by the way, a million times she says, he sure loves you. He loves you, but he loves me too. He sure loves you, but he loves me too. And she's just like going on with this whole thing. And I'm literally just standing there. I don't even know what I look like because I couldn't even almost feel my body. This was happening. So she goes down the pathway. I shut the door. I walk around the corner. There's my son standing there. And I said, oh my God. I said, Connor, did you hear what just happened? He said, yes.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
You're on mute, Ms. Gladden, but I don't need to hear what the child said.
Okay, you can't talk about what he said.
Understood. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay. And what happened? I mean, was that the end of the altercation at that time?
Yes.
Okay. How did it make you feel?
Awful. It was, it felt aggressive. It felt, what I didn't mention is she's also telling me about, she went to this golf tournament the day before and Brian wouldn't come, she got a hotel room and she's in the hotel room crying that he won't come. And I'm crying and I want to kill myself. She said that a couple of times. I actually told her, I said, well, there's numbers you can call. And I said that at the end of the conversation here, school nurse dealing with, all kinds of stuff. I said, there's numbers if you really feel that way, why I'm giving her advice to keep, and it's just, she kept saying things that are almost like, as if I'm supposed to be like, God, I'm so sorry he stood you up and doesn't want to see you anymore. Like, I don't really know what her point was. It was just very aggressive. It was, this is what she always said she was going to do. Like, you don't play my game. I'm coming to your wife, or I'm coming to your work. I'm coming to your bosses and I'm going to tell them everything. So she followed through with it. And,
okay.
Yeah.
So, now, did she bother you, over the next few months? Did she
I
do
never-
anything?
I never heard from her ever until December 6th.
Okay. And so did you possibly think that maybe she was out of your, sorry, I know you see that, Judge. I'm about to open up this portion of the screen. And did you basically think that she was out of your life or hope so?
Certainly hope so, but didn't really think so because she did, this rocked my world. I've been with my husband since we were 15 years old. I've never been with anybody else in my life. He's my best friend. He's my dad. I mean, this shocked the hell out of me. And it was obviously very traumatic. It was awful. It's been an awful road. We're still continuing to try and work. We have 4 children, 2 grandchildren. We're in couples therapy, other therapy. We're doing all these things and she still keeps reaching out to Brian in all these different regards. And of course, Brian's telling me when it's happening, like he's being completely honest with everything. It's, there wasn't any secrets kept as far as that. Once the cat was out of the bag. So we just kind of were almost just still all hoping that it would go away. Brian did think about talking to an attorney and talking to their therapist. He did think about doing a temporary protection order, but we kept hoping not to have to just
Your Honor, I'm
do
going
that.
to
We
object
wanted
to
to move on.
Your Honor, I'm just going to
Let's-
object to anything. If I can finish my objection,
Oh,
please.
sure.
I'm going to object to any testimony by Miss Finneran as to how Brian felt, what Brian thought, what Brian did. She can't speculate as to those things.
I'll sustain. Ms. Finneran, just talk about just you and Ms. Swannick, what's happened between you.
Oh, okay. So, well, because of those am I okay to say because of those interactions and what was happening, and it wasn't hearsay like I saw them or heard them or that I
No,
felt
he
like
showed you a text. That's not, so that's hearsay. That was between the 2 of them.
right. So I physically saw the evidence
text,
of them, the
between-
emails and
it's
right.
between
And then
two of
in the
them.
letter.
Nope,
Yeah.
nope, it wasn't to you. So that's hearsay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. I see what you're saying. I thought you were asked. Okay. So it's hearsay, but even though I physically saw it. Okay. I got it.
And
Are you talking? I can't hear.
yes, I'm sorry. So what happened on, just generally tell before I get into the details, when was the next communication you had from her?
So on December 6th, I was at work and I actually was sending a text message, it happened to be to Brian, and on the top, there's an incoming call and it was Shannon. And I actually had forgotten, I had put her contact in my phone. I had just to have, because I had to get contacts off Brian's phone. I got a new phone and I'm like, I'm going to put this in here in case I ever need it. So it actually startled me when it said Shannon 680 show visit and it's an incoming call. So I snapped a screenshot and was like, is she calling me? What's happening? Then a couple minutes later, I got 9 photos that were pictures of either the journal entries, some screenshots, messages from her. And then I was getting also text messages that she had typed out to me. And then that continued throughout that entire day.
Okay, now I am going to,
Was that December the 6th, Ms. Finner?
December 6th, 2022.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Ms. Gladden.
thank you.
So I'm at work. Like I said, I am a school nurse. So I've got kids from the age of 3 to 19. And she knows that I'm a school nurse. And the fact she chose to send all of these pictures and journal entries and bizarreness and details, it was, absolutely like put me in a panic. I just was in shock. I didn't understand why she was doing this, what her intent was, except, I mean, I've never wanted someone to hurt me so bad in my whole life. I just felt it was absolutely awful. Like I was struggling to stay at work. Can
Next question,
I?
Glenn.
Okay, go ahead and talk about, so one of the first ones that you received. Okay, now I
So
finally got,
at 9, like I said, at 9:54, I got 9 pictures, and it was journal entries.
Judge, objection. I just
okay, I'm
feel like,
about to bring those up. Thank
Hold
I
you.
feel
on,
like
Ms. Glenn.
I feel
What's
like
your
Ms.
objection,
Finneran is
Mr. Davis?
looking at something in her hands. If she's not, I just can't see them. I want to make sure that she has, like Mr. Finneran, no paperwork, no documents.
Oh.
She can't have anything in front of her.
You can't look at it, Ms. Finneran, okay? You have to look at the exhibits that Ms. Gladden puts up.
If it
Oh,
could be,
I
if it could be
apologize.
turned over and removed from the room, that would be great.
Okay.
Go ahead, Ms. Gladden.
Yes, Your Honor. Well, I'm gonna get rid of this portion sharing, Judge, and just because for some reason it's not coming together.
Christy, is this the screenshot with?
No, I'm gonna get it this time because I had it all working and
I'm saying, but I've got it right here if needed.
well, I'm gonna start from the beginning. Yes, if you wanna,
Because I know what she was describing. I don't know that I have
Right.
everything, but I have that. I'm just downloading it. Opening it.
start over with share screen.
Is this what you're talking about?
Yes,
Well, that's like the first, yes.
yes.
And then I was-
This is several pages long.
Yes, so if you go back to the journal entry that you, I was just gonna go to the first picture. So there's that calling in, that was the call, and then that's the picture of the 9.
So Judge, I'll need this in as evidence before she testifies to it.
Yes,
All right, you
okay.
need to lay a foundation, Ms. Gladden.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Wanick, do you recognize this set of texts?
Are you asking Miss Swanwick or me?
I mean,
Ms.
Ms.
Finneran?
Finneran, I'm sorry, do you
Okay.
recognize this from Ms. Wanick?
Yeah, that's from my phone.
Okay, and the name that says Shannon, who does that refer to and how do you know that it's Ms. Wanick?
It was the contact that I took from Brian that he had told me that this was her phone number.
Okay. And so, and where were you at the time of this, of these text messages?
I was in the school clinic at Notre Dame Academy,
Okay, and what is again your position there?
school nurse.
Okay, and so how many children do you take care of at that school?
Your Honor,
Like I
I'm
said, we have-
objecting to relevance. That has nothing to
Okay.
do with this case.
I think that I will make, Your Honor, if you'll give me a second, I
Okay,
will.
but just hold on, Ms. Gladden. So, I mean, why does that matter? How many children she takes care of at a school? It doesn't. Her husband had a 4.5-year affair. That's really all I care about. And then she was floored at the door by this lady coming up saying, I've been screwing your husband for 4.5 years.
Okay,
How many
well-
kids she has to take their temperature? Doesn't matter to me.
thank you, Judge. Can you start, tell the court what time that you started getting messages from Ms. Wanick?
The call was at 9:54 and then the messages were at 9. I'm trying to see what this says on here. I think it was 9:56. And then there was 9 photos. Or anyway, it was around 9:50 something. I got the 9 photos. And then shortly after that, I got the first text And then the text continued coming through until after 1 o'clock that day.
Okay. And at 9:56, can you read that into the record?
Read the
The
Yes.
text at 9:56.
It said, I'm sure.
Judge, this has not yet even been entered as evidence.
Okay, Your Honor, so how do you so is this a correct, true and correct copy of the text exchange or the text that you received from Ms. Shannon Swanick on the day of December 6th, 2022?
Yes.
Okay. And is that your taken from your phone?
Yes.
Okay. And so, Your Honor, I would move to accept this into evidence. It is from her phone. Ms. Swanick is recognized there. She identifies herself talking about, if you can, once we look at the messages, she's referring to the relationship that she had with Ms. Finneran's husband. So it's obvious Ms. Swanick who is leaving these messages. And she's also got her own journal. This is a picture of the journal that's already been introduced into evidence.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right,
Thank
it's
you.
admitted. This would
Thank
be,
Defense exhibit, or plaintiff's exhibit, Judge, sorry, 5. Okay, and could you read the journal entry at that time?
Yes.
Okay, and could you paraphrase what it said for the judge so we can make it quicker?
I mean,
Well,
I've read the
there's-
journal, I've already admitted it, and he said
Okay.
part B. I've read that, so it's.
Well, there are other pages, Judge. I don't think
Yeah,
that that's
there was-
this page.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so there's multiple pages. So you just saw the one, they just put what Brian's part was. So she first wrote a response, then she handed it to Brian and he has his response. Then
Judge,
she has another
Judge, objection.
response.
I have a question. Miss Finneran was not
Yeah, go
participating
ahead
in the
and ask the
last.
question directly, Mr. Davis.
No, objection. I'm just saying, I don't know how she knows what we showed in the last hearing because she was not supposed to be watching or participating.
Ms. Finneran, how do you know that what I've already looked at?
What do you mean, the journal entry?
How do you know
You
the
just said that
journal-
all we showed was Brian's page and that wasn't
I
in this
did.
hearing.
I wasn't in the room and I didn't see it, but I heard something about the heart and the love. And we're in the same home.
Okay, it is. I just wanted that if it was
But I
an
was not,
accident.
I'm not in the same room as him. He's not, I can't see him right now. I don't know if he can hear me.
If
it's
it was
just-
if it was accidental, I understand. I'm okay.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I knew you were talking about it because something there was about, you said love me and he said something about heart. So
Okay.
Go ahead.
okay, so there's 3 journal entries here. There's one that's written that she sent that she's, well, I guess before I go through those 9 things, can I read the text message that she
Yes,
sent
but you
these
can
9
hold on
pictures
one
and then sent
second.
it?
You can hold on one second.
Okay,
Hold on one second. I've got Judge Houston here.
okay.
So, Ms. Cole, Mr. Woodard.
Yes, ma'am, we're here. I'm here, rather.
Okay,
I'm
Ms.
here.
Cole. All right, I'm gonna put you two in a breakout room with Judge Houston. She's gonna hear your case, and then as soon as I finish with this one, she is going to come back in here and take over while I hear this case for her that is in person. Judge Houston, I'll go ahead and make you a co-host, and I will move those 2 people to breakout room 1, and then you can move yourself to breakout room 1.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm here.
Okay, I'm gonna maybe just follow the prompts. And go to breakout
Your
room 1.
Will you add me to that breakout room, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I think you're a co-host. You can go in there.
Okay.
Hi, Judge Houston.
Davis, could you bring those to the top, please? I'm sorry.
This is the first page of what you sent me.
Yes.
Judge Houston, you're a co-host, so you should be able to.
And then I was told to go
Right.
to this.
Yeah, so anyway, there was the 9 pictures, like journal, there's the 9 things that we'll go through because the way you can see how it goes. It's like,
They're non-photos?
my-
Okay.
so
Yeah,
then
but-
after she sent that, very, very quickly after, there was this message. It says, I'm sure you recognize his handwriting. Before I burn, delete, and download all IG messages between Brian and I, thought you should read more. Take care. That was at 9:56. So I hadn't looked through all of the 9 pictures that have been sent. I just saw that there's this journal entry. Then I see this, and I'm literally like in work, have kids in there. So I'm trying to like deal with them, thinking what in the world is happening, wanting to see exactly what she has sent. So then I start going through the journal entry. So I see she wrote a journal entry. I do see Brian's writing to the right. Then she writes in a response to that 3rd journal entry. And it's talking about, sorry, I'm going to have to make it bigger. Do you want me to read them, Your Honor?
I mean, I could read.
Okay, so you can see it's in that when the first time I read it, I was just once again feeling almost like the feeling of her coming to like, I just like, oh my God, like this is a lot. There's a lot of detail. Like, as my therapist said, an affair is an affair.
Objection,
We all
Your
know what
Honor.
happens.
Nothing, no hearsay.
Okay. Can you
Okay, well, then
tell-
I'll say it. An affair is an affair. I didn't need to see the movie in my head
Mhm.
of all the details and her fantasy novel of how things took place. As I read them more, I thought, wow, this is an interesting person. Just very, I don't know. It was,
Ms.
I
Finneran?
personally could never want to hurt somebody so badly to send these things. And as we continue to read the text messages and you see how she said things and worded things, it's very threatening.
Okay.
She definitely was trying to, upset me she had no regard. And as you can see, when she says, this is very therapeutic, and as I read them, I don't know what to say. I've never been in a court hearing, so I'm not trying to be difficult. I just, I don't know. I think if Your Honor, if you're able to read the journal entries, because they're making me out to be like I'm this scorned wife and I'm out for revenge. That is the last thing I am. I am a drama-free person. I don't do any of this stuff. I don't even have social media. I'm not concerned what other people think. I'm not in this fantasy land of us being a power couple and this and that and, sweaty sex of this and, love making. And he looked in my eyes. And I mean, it's like I'm reading a adolescent's diary of their fantasy land. It's
Okay, now, just
bizarre.
very briefly, Ms. Finneran,
Yes.
I will look, I note that on April 18th, at the bottom of that recording, she talks about, what are the graphic things that she talks about, which were very disturbing?
All right. So April 18th, we met at the Punch Bar for happy hour. He just played Eastlake and something I don't know, something in the,
Dressed up, start with all.
okay,
dressed
we're
up.
all dressed up, both looking and feeling like the power couple we are. Not able to keep his hands off of me, slipping his fingers inside my vagina and under the table. I loved it. XOXO.
Okay,
So
we could go to the next entry, go to the next page, please.
So let me try to kind of rein this in.
okay.
Because one, I'm not wanting Ms. Finneran to have to
Right,
relive the.
I've read them enough. I've read them many times. It's fantastic.
Well, and I hope you're angry with the right people, but that doesn't really matter. So here's what I'm getting, and tell me, I mean, I'm a little more simpler than some judges, especially those up in Cherokee County. You know, they all think they're wasting us down here in the big city. But here we go. So I usually say that about DeKalb County, but I'll say it about Cherokee. Okay. So, Mr. Fenneman, you had an affair. Your side of it is when you were kind of coaxed into it because you were drunk and this lady made you go back to her hotel room and forced you into this affair. It just kept on and kept on and kept on, and you stayed in this affair for 4.5 years. Forced into this affair for 4.5 years. Poor man. Now, then you either try to end it or you're like, I'm messing up, and you know, I've got my wife, I've got this marriage, I've got kids, I've got grandkids, I've got all this, and you know, Swanick, you're married too, and I don't know what, but for whatever reason y'all break up. So then, you know, a tale as old as time, Miss Swanick goes, you know what? I'm going to the house because I'm going to tell her, because I bet you he hasn't told her. So she finds, she tracks you down, knocks on the door, and unfortunately your son was standing there and says, I've been banging your husband for 4.5 years. And you say, well, you've got to have the wrong house because my husband's over here. He's doing this, he's doing that. Nope, she calls his name, she calls your name. She gets explicit, she says all this, she says all of this stuff in the journal. And of course, you don't know who you're going to hurt the most, her or him, or both. Right? Am I almost on there, Miss Finneran? Am I kind of going down that right expressway?
No, I'm sorry. You're saying it. I don't know if I'm
right. When she comes to your door and she says, I've been sleeping with your husband for 4.5 years, you don't know who you're more angry at right then.
Oh,
right?
No, I know I was like, once I realized it was my husband, I'm angry at my husband.
Sure, you're angry at both. So here
yeah,
we go.
exactly. Like the whole
And
thing is, I actually don't even know what I was at the time. I was.
I cannot imagine. On December the 6th, then she starts texting you. When is the last time she's reached out to you?
December 28th.
So what you changed your phone number, you changed your phone. What did she say on December 28th?
I didn't change my phone number, but
got a new phone. Okay,
well,
what did
can I say, Your Honor, can I please read the text messages that she sent? Because I think it's more telling than the journal entries. The journal entries is just the icing on the cake, just the extra.
You're going to tell me what it was on December 28th.
December 28th was, can I reference the stuff or can we pull it up?
The one you want to read me, the December 28th text?
The one I really want to read you is the text message that she sent me on December 6th. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 text messages that she sent throughout the day. Then she continued the next day.
Those are the ones that Mr. Davis was sharing screen with. No?
So those were the journal entries, but the text messaging, I think on that day is, it's more, this is where I find it threatening.
I can read for myself. I got it. Let's see. What did it say? Shannon showed 680. So that's her, right?
Yes.
That's her. You're blue or you're green or you're gray?
I'm blue.
You're blue. You say Three's Company. She's like, thumbs up.
No. That's not her. That's my husband. That's her calling in. That's actually means nothing. We can move up.
So these text messages are his or yours?
No, the phone call. You see, there's a call coming in.
I'm saying, is that who this is identified by that name?
No, that's not. That's a call coming in. This text
Listen
message.
to the words I'm asking you. Is this text messages from that person?
Sorry,
Shannon.
the one that was just on the screen. No, it was not. The picture that was just on the screen. The text messages, yes, are from Shannon.
That's what I'm asking. It said Shannon at the top. Is that those text messages from her?
That particular one, no, it's just a call.
Okay, pull up ones to Miss Aaron. That's the ones I want to see. I don't want anything else to do with him.
Yes, please pull up the very first text so I can just start reading the text if you don't mind.
Okay.
Well, I can read them. Now, is this a text to you?
Okay.
Is a text? No, we don't know what that's.
I'm getting, yeah, Judge, they're in a certain order.
That is not, yeah.
I'm getting to that in a second. They're all together.
That's not a text to you either, is it?
Yes, Judge. No, here we come, Judge.
I've got it pulled up if need be.
So you're familiar with the text to her, Mr. Davis?
Yeah. Yes, Your Honor. Sorry.
Good. Let Mr. Davis do it.
Okay, Mr. Davis.
Okay.
How long y'all think y'all gonna go? Okay.
Yeah. This is it. Correct? Do I have the right thing pulled
Yeah,
up?
so if you don't mind, Mr. Davis, the one that's after the 9 pictures, if we can just go to just the text messages she actually wrote me that were meant just for me.
Those.
These. Okay.
Yeah, but
So
keep
these are the 9
going.
pictures. These are
Yeah,
the texts that
keep-
continued
if
that
you
day.
don't
These
mind,
are-
if
Sure.
you don't mind going to where there's the very beginning where there's the 9 pictures, then, okay, so that, okay, here, okay, so, sorry, just so I can, so if we
Okay,
go
hold
up
on.
from here, that's.
She's in the gray.
Yeah, everything's in the gray. I never responded to one thing she ever said.
Okay, all
So
right. I've
all of
got
these
this
are
one.
100% from Shannon.
I got this one. Go to the next page.
Okay, so,
All right, I'm reading it. Okay, this is the same
so
thing.
at 10:02, there's another text message that you can read from her.
Got
Being
it?
blocked and cut off by someone you loved,
Yeah,
you
I'm
know,
gonna read it.
10:16.
Go ahead,
Uh,
go ahead.
So
Mr.
this
Smith,
is all throughout the day. She's constantly drilling in these messages.
got
And
you.
I have a recent cancer diagnosis, so this isn't a time in my young
Okay, hold
life to
on,
mess
Miss
around.
Aaron, hold
Okay.
on. Let me
Yes.
read. I got it, 10:16.
Oh,
As a recent
understood.
cancer died this time, it's a mess. And my tattoo on my backside, had it done in California. What is BS? What is that?
Brian
Brian
Shannon, I
Shannon.
guess.
Okay.
She got a
okay.
tattoo for them.
Oh,
It's a
okay,
clada without the heart.
All right, stop. All right, I tattoo, I said, keep that on you. Haven't talked since May 103. Okay, next, thank you, Mr. Davis. Let's see, by the way, we had sex, we were real home.
So this one was fun. This was the next morning. And I literally, after getting those messages, I had a panic attack. I came home, I called my therapist. I was like, I don't know what's happening. It was awful. I wasn't sure. I almost could not stay at work, but I didn't have anyone to cover the clinic.
Okay,
I
hold
was
on, I'm reading.
emotional.
Hold on, I'm reading.
Okay,
All
this
these
was the
places
next
they had-
morning.
Hold on, I'm reading all the places they had sex. Next page, Mr. Davis.
Oh.
This is a continuation, Judge. It starts
Okay,
down
that's
here.
the battery and all that, okay. Okay,
I would like to point out, Judge, that she keeps talking about her getting them rooms.
I understand. Next,
Okay,
and then she would send pictures of them together, okay, and then here it is. And
Right.
last I talked on the phone. Keep plugging.
And then at 6:58 that morning, so I'm getting ready for work, I literally lost it. I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I don't know what's happening.
Is this the last text?
No. So
Okay,
then
go
she
ahead.
said, this is the last text of that day. But in the other text, did you see how she said, you know, that they like to have anal, that they would like, she's just giving me all these details. And then she's like, it's so therapeutic to tell you more. I have many beautiful photos of it. So I don't know. Like, it just seems like this is for her to vent with no regard.
Let me go to the
For
next
me.
one.
I
Mr. Davis.
have nothing to do with this relationship. I'm the innocent bystander. Leave me alone.
Okay, so hold on. Next picture, next one, Mr. Davis.
I'm not sure what this is. I guess it's a photo that was
Same
included.
picture as before,
Yeah,
yes.
these are just
Yes.
text messages that she sent.
Oh, that's the same from before.
yeah.
Yeah, so it says, and lastly, and then, so then then I had gone out to California. I was trying to get help. My therapist said to get a protective order. Our
Objected,
attorney had said
objection,
to get a
hearsay.
You
protective order.
can't talk about what other people said to
Okay.
say, remember.
I appreciate
So
that, Ms.
it
Gladden.
was,
You know what? I got this black robe. I got this. Stop.
I
Let me-
apologize,
both of
Judge.
y'all let me- Anybody want to let me read?
I apologize. Your-
That's okay. Just let me read. Brian loves to have sex with other women. Kudos to you and happy anniversary on December the 28th. Fantastic. Move on up, Mr. Davis. Next page.
This is it.
That's it.
This is
Next question
December
for Ms.
7th, and these,
Gladden.
I mean, there's more stuff here, but this is the last text.
That was the last text. Anything else you want me to see, Ms. Gladden?
From this particular thing, from this particular set of text, can you go down just Mr. Davis so I can check real quick?
Sure.
And that's another picture where she posted on Instagram. Okay,
I would, that, I don't know what that is, and I don't think Ms. Gladden can say, you know.
well, no, Ms. Finneran, can you explain to the court what this is?
To be honest with you, I think that was meant for like Brian's child, or sorry, I don't know what to call this, but it says, it's a
I think it's
picture.
to
and
him because it's got his. I mean, it's
Picture,
her-
Right, but
Yeah.
the reason he had it on here is she keeps changing little, like this picture's from 2021, and there's pictures, then she changes the little comments on social media. She adds and takes off pictures. She goes public, private. And she said, so fun, like whatever this golf tournament was, so fun. And Vince Carter is a very nice man. The other one has his days, winky face. And she changed
Objection, Your
that
Honor.
2 weeks.
Yeah,
She
I can-
changed
Your Honor, at
that
this point,
in
this is not-
February.
Okay.
At this point, this is not relevant. It's a social media post from my client who's allowed to post something on social media. It has nothing to do with Ms. Finneran.
Judge, I would like to
Ms. Gladden,
respond to
seriously,
that.
She can post anything on LinkedIn she wants to post.
I understand, Your Honor, but she keeps posting and reposting and changing the comments, taunting my client because she's constantly trying to taunt, be rude, trying to rub it in.
My
I mean,
client can't
she
help
just-
how Ms. Finneran feels about an online post. Ms. Finneran can choose not to look at it.
All right, anything else for Ms. Finneran?
Hang on one second, Judge. I would like to show a picture of,
Yeah.
I think I have the one I'm trying to show.
I think you pulled it up earlier. I saw it.
Yeah,
Are you talking about the one where he says it was a fake smile?
no, Judge, it's one where Miss Swanick changed her Instagram, what she said on Instagram, a message to my client. She actually spoke on Instagram, so she is trying to reach out to her on Instagram. She's not innocently posting to Instagram. It says Erin Finneran, and she talks to.
Ms. Finneran said the last time she reached out to her was December the 28th.
Erin, when did she post that Erin Finneran message about you on Instagram? I can't hear you, Erin. You're on mute.
I'm so sorry. I must have hit that. Okay, February 27th, 2023 at 9:25 p.m. Her Instagram account was private, but it says on the, can you pull it up?
I have it.
Okay, if you can pull it up, it says, Erin Finneran, please keep seeking the truth from your husband and stop deflecting on me and my family. Thank you, with prayer hands. That's for anybody to see that follows her or she follows or that goes to her page. Literally says my name and that statement. So that was brought to my attention. And so we pulled it up and took a picture.
I know that it's part of this. It
I
was
just
part
don't
of-
know where I'm going to be next when she sends me these pictures. It just seems like she's relentless. She's trying. We don't need a bigger wedge between Brian and I. I don't know if she thinks like I'm just happy and I'm trying to take. I have not contacted her one time. I have no interest in contacting her. This is between me, as I said to her husband, this is between, as he's reaching out to me, this is between me and my husband and her husband. I am not trying, I've not contacted her. I'm not trying to harm her or her family. I don't know what she's talking about, deflecting on her family. I literally have not reached out one time. I have not responded to any of this stuff, but this has seriously been a trauma in my life. It has affected me and I don't know how far she's going to go. She's talking about blocking and tackling her. You can keep trying to block and tackle me. I'm not blocking and tackling anything. I mean, if Brian wants to call her, he can call her. If they're going to see each other, they're going to see each other. Clearly, for 4 years, it happened. Like that message she left, leave me alone. Please leave me alone. Stop. I literally have left her alone. She's not leaving me alone. So I'm not some scorned wife that's trying to get out to get Shannon. I need her to leave me alone. I'm afraid she's going to start reaching out to my children. I'm afraid she's going to show up here. I think she thinks if I weren't in the way, if I were out of the way, she and Brian are going to be together. You know, like, listen, I may not be with Brian next week. So have at it if he wants to be with you, but leave me alone. Like, I don't need to see all this. It's traumatic enough. I don't want her reaching out to me anymore. She's continued to reach out to the both of us.
Okay, but I don't, but
for 9
enough
months.
about him. Look, Miss Finneran.
Well, I think it's because he hasn't responded to her. She went after me.
Miss Finneran.
Yes.
Take the cotton out of your ears, put it in your mouth and listen. When is the last time she reached out to you? Give me a date.
I guess you could say 2/27/23.
Okay. What is it that you want me to do?
I want a protection order so she cannot contact me ever again through social media. So you see this message up here, what she put on there? I find that very threatening. And I've not gone out for her family at all. I'm not deflecting. I literally have not reached out to her one time. And I started this protection order, by the way, the end of December. This is my second protection order because she hasn't been served. They haven't been able to serve her. I've had to go down to the court twice. So I didn't just start this protection order. And I know, I guess I can't say it's hearsay, but I was advised to get the protection order by.
Don't say by
doctor.
who.
Doesn't matter. Police tell you, that's all they ever do. Tell
Yeah.
people to go
Well,
first.
Judge, I think
No,
my
the
point
police
is,
didn't. It was my doctor.
for her to wait 6 months and then to reach out and say such horrible things to my client just suddenly means that she's not letting it go. On the 27th of this year, she's posting things with my client's name in it. What does my client want? My client wants her to not talk to her, not post things about her.
Did you, Ms. Gladden, did you read these cases? Did you read the cases? 348 Georgia App, 344 and 296 Georgia 838. I don't know the status of Ms. Swanick's marriage. I don't know the status of Mr. and Ms. Finneran's marriage. And like she said, they may not be married next week. That's something that Mr. Finneran has to live with for the rest of his life on choices that he made. Choices he made, nothing he was forced into. Ms. Finneran, don't even try to take up for him and defend him because I am not.
Oh, I'm not defending him. I'm just wondering why we're talking about him when she's going after me and I need her to leave me alone.
Could you? Nobody. Do me a favor, everybody in this courtroom, y'all got to promise me y'all will let me talk. Promise, look, I got a bunch of thumbs ups. They're gonna let me talk. So, Miss Swanick, guess what? Cheat with me, you'll cheat on me. You ever heard that?
Ms.
Let's say
Swanick?
he does. Let's say she does leave him. Do you not think if you got together with him that he's going to cheat on you too? If he would cheat on this woman that he's been married to, how many years, Miss Finneran?
28.
28 years, children and grandchildren. Do you not think he would cheat on you so fast to make your head spin?
Ms. Swanick, you can unmute if you want to answer. It's
You can
okay.
unmute
She's
and
asked.
say yes.
Yes, Your Honor, I do feel like I don't trust him.
Okay, well, this woman right here, out of all of this, is, I mean, is a victim in the little thing you had going on. It was her. It was her. It was her children. It was her grandchildren. So, and you know what? People have affairs, whatever. Not saying anything about you or whatever, but this lady is the one that's hurt. And how you decided you were going to go up to her, and they always, because trust me, they've been in here 1,000 times. They decided to go tell the other spouse, they're asleep with me, they're doing this, they're doing that, and this is what, you know, and they think that meant then also they got her. And there's more women that come in here that fight over one man, and it kills me. So many people fight over one man, and it's even sadder when they talk about, well, I put money on this prison. I put money on it. I picked him up when he got out of prison. And they fight over these people. Who cares about him? I don't know who he is, don't know who you are, don't care who he is. But I know that there's some children involved in this that could have just lost one of their parents. So if this woman decides to leave him, I'm sure this is the first thing she's going to say, whatever county they live in front of whatever judge they do, is this is what he did. This is what he spent money on. This is what he did. And it's not going to end well for him. I don't care what county it is. So he's a grown man. And she's grown too, but you need to stop reaching out to her. Leave her alone. Her and her kids, leave them alone. Don't destroy this woman's life already any more than Mr. Fetterman has destroyed her life. And he has. They dated since, what did she say? They were 15. And he tossed that up in the air and kicked it. Or whatever football position he claimed to play. I don't know. I don't like football. Tight end, tackle, back, I don't know, whatever you were, I don't care, but it doesn't impress me. So you destroyed this woman's life. You threw it up in the air and you didn't care about it. And now you've got this lady who can't get over the heartbreak, who now is hammering at her. And I'm sure at first she probably hoped you would leave her and come running back to her. But to me, neither one of these women, you're not worth having either one of them, honestly, but if y'all work it out, I hope that y'all do. I really hope that y'all do. But Miss Swanick, you will have to leave this woman alone. This man asked for it. He says, I didn't tell her I loved you, but I did this.
Oh, Miss.
That doesn't mean love. The heart, I don't know what it means, but it was the heart. Yes, Miss Gladden.
Oh, yeah, Judge, I didn't understand if you were saying Miss Swanick or my client. So I just.
Well, I mean, no, Mr. Finner, he deserves whatever happens to him. I mean, she's not stalking him anymore, but if she's going to go spend $10,000 or whatever it costs to go to a golf tournament that he's at, then I hope she has better things to do with $10,000 than spend it on a golf tournament to be around a man who don't want to be around her.
Right.
Mr. Davis could use that $10,000 in attorney's fees because him and his husband are trying to have a child. Maybe you put away college money for his child.
Judge, I have 2 in college right now, so I understand that theory very well. Yeah, Judge, and that was the whole point, I think, was that this was meant to harass and intimidate my client, and she wanted it to stop. You know,
Judge,
she didn't ask to be contacted after 7 months.
Go ahead, Mr. Davis. What are you
I was
going
gonna
to
say,
say, Mr. Davis?
I don't know where we are here procedurally. I'm happy to provide a cross-examination. I will be making another motion for a directed verdict. You just pointed to my cases, and I just want to say here, I agree. I recognize that Miss Finneran was all of this was new to her, but the fact that discomfort, that panic, that feeling she had does not support a stalking protective order. We went 7 months between May to December. And then we filed the TPO. There's been no evidence that it was. Does my client probably wish, and she'd have to testify that she didn't send them? Sure. But still, the burden for a stalking protective order has to show a pattern of harassing, intimidating behavior meant to put someone in reasonable fear for their safety. My client came to the house, and that was it. And there's just not been this pattern. And also, I think it's really important to look at that Chan versus Ellis case. My client can post whatever she wants, and respectfully, I don't know that the court can even say, no, you can't post things. But Miss Finneran said she doesn't have social media, which means someone showed her this. So just like the respondent in the Chan case, the court reversed that TPO because Miss Ellis either had someone send her something or she went and intentionally looked for it, because Miss Finneran doesn't have social media. So she can block my client and she can choose not to look at things, but the burden again hasn't been met for a stalking protective order here.
Mr. Davis, Ms. Gladden, we're both going in this breakout room right now.
What now, Your Honor?
Go in the breakout room right now.
Okay.
Both of us?
Yes, you and Mr. Davis. Oh, wait on the lawyers to get back in here. Okay, Ms. Swanick, Ms. Finneran, Mr. Finneran. Ms. Swanick, Mr. Davis is gonna have a chat with you. Leave this woman alone. Just leave her alone. And if you think of it like, oh, she got a man who cheated on her for 4.5 years. Woo! You call that first prize? I don't. But she has children and she has grandchildren, and what she chooses to do and try to make of it, that is up to her. That's completely up to her, because she's got a lot more to think about than just a fling. So that's up to her. Whatever choice she's making is her choice. She's not your friend. She doesn't want to be your friend. She doesn't want your sympathy. She doesn't want a hug. She doesn't want any of that you offered her. Leave her alone. Leave her alone. And Mr. Finneran, leave him alone. I hope he's begging and crawling and crying and being absolutely honest, and not the phrase that people use, as honest as I could be, with Ms. Finneran right now, and making up for everything he has done. I don't know that he ever can, because you have a lot riding on this, Mr. Finneran. And Ms. Finneran, I wish you the best. I absolutely wish you the best. And Mr. Finneran, you stop showing her stuff. If this woman reaches out to you, you need to tell her to stop, so you can block her. Y'all can block her. And Ms. Swanick, don't. Why post on social media? Why? Leave her name out of it. And think about this. How many children do you have, Ms. Finneran? 2?
I have
3.
4 and 2 grandchildren.
4 children that we could sooner or later be able to go out here in social media and it's out there forever. And they get to look and say, wow, look what my dad did. Look at what my granddad did. And I don't want that for those kids. You guys have your adult fight between yourselves. I don't care. But leave it out of these kids and these grandchildren's hands. So, Ms. Swanick, they come back. If Ms. Finneran comes back again because you're reaching out to her and taunting her and being that, oh, I'm hurt because he left me, I will put a TPO on you so fast it'll make your head swim. And I can promise you, this other judge sitting right down here in the corner of this screen would do it too. I'm telling you to leave them alone. Let these two work on whatever's left of their marriage. Mr. Davis and Ms. Gladden are going to send me a couple of short paragraphs about fees. I'll look over those and I'll make a decision. Judge Houston right now is going to take over. Judge Houston. And trust me, leave her alone. Anything else you want to say, Ms. Swanick? Anything you don't understand that Ms. Finneran does wants nothing to do with you. She doesn't want to hear it. She's got all the gory details. She doesn't want to hear it again.
Yes, Your Honor, I have no intention to ever talk to either one of them ever again. I also have 2 teenage girls, and they are aware of what's happened and of my actions, and I've taken accountability for that. And I would like to be left alone as well, and not have people talking about me and my good reputation too. Thank
That
you.
doesn't matter. Stop putting stuff on social media. Save your children, their children, everybody's children. Okay? Thank you all. And Ms. Finneran, same thing. If she reaches out to you again, come back. And like I said, that'll be it. Okay?
Will we get those dismissals across Odyssey?
Joe, I think Ms. Free's child was sick, but we'll get him. I think I'll have Dr. Taylor on e-file. Dr. Taylor, I've made Judge Houston the host. Anything else? Yes, Ms. Gladden.
I just needed an email address, Your Honor, that you wanted me to send the paragraphs to about the fees that you.
Oh, okay. Mr. Davis, could you email between her and give her my email address so I don't have to try to figure it out?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes.
I can do that. And then should I copy Ms. Freed, whatever we send ultimately?
Sure, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
Thank you, Judge Houston. And the 2 o'clock should be in there.
All right.
All
That's
right,
all
may we
that's
be-
left are 2 o'clocks, correct?
Right. And did you finish the other case?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank y'all. Y'all stay healthy and safe, and y'all try to be decent to one another.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Judge
Thank
Houston,
you.
can we stop the stream?
Yes, please.